We're about to start this public hearing. Is now in session. Today is September 18, 2025 at approximately 1:44 in the afternoon. Here at the Honorable Sues P. Mafnas Memorial Building, Senate Chamber, Capitol Hill, Saipan. This is a public hearing regarding the appointment of Remedios C. Mafnas by Governor David Appointee and Lieutenant Governor Dennis Mendola to serve as a board of directors of the Commonwealth Economic Incentive Authority to represent the public sector. Ms. Jolene Tagabel will be assisting us on this afternoon's public hearing. The Sergeant at Arms will be Sergeant Ben Terlai. The IT will be Mr. Camacho, and the LB Media will be LJ Castro, and our legal counsel will be Counsel Joe Bermudez, and they will all serve accordingly for this public hearing. At this time, I ask Ms. Tagabo to please call the roll.
Senator Ronnie M. Caldwell.
Present.
Senator Manny P. Castro.
Stick out.
Senator Francisco V. Cruz.
Here.
Senator Juju Schneider. Senator Karina M. Magofnia. Senator Donald M. Mangonia.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, 5 members are present, 1 member is absent.
With 5 members present, we have the necessary number to proceed with this public hearing. However, the Vice President of the Senate, Senator Karina Magofnia, is excused. At this time, do I hear a motion to adopt agenda? There's a motion for the adoption of this afternoon's agenda, and was seconded. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. And before I invited the appointee and the governor's rep, I want to be on record that I know that there's supposed to be, we have a public notice that we supposed to entertain 2 of the governor's appointee, but unfortunately Commissioner Torres is not able to, and I believe the members have a copy of the letter sent to us by Acting Governor James Mendiola, Dennis Mendiola, stating the reason why he's not able to join us due to the fact that he is with the governor in Guam to finalize some of the issues that affecting our Department of Corrections. So I asked the viewing public for an understanding of as to why it's not on the list, and also the understanding of the members to accept that, and we'll schedule for Torres on the next available date for him. So at this time, I would like to ask Sarge to please invite the appointee and the governor's rep. Thank you. And before you proceed with your testimony, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Haufa Santiro, Chairman Francisco Q. Cruz, and honorable members of the Executive and Appointments and Government Investigations Committee. For record purposes, my name is Jean-Paul B. Regis, Special Assistant for the Administration. On behalf of the Honorable Governor David M. Appointee and the Honorable Lieutenant Governor Dennis James C. Mendiola, I once again thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today in conducting this public hearing. I am pleased to introduce Ms. Remedios C. Mofnes, who have been nominated by Governor and Lieutenant Governor to serve on the Board of Directors for the Commonwealth Economic Incentive Authority, representing the public sector. I am hopeful that all required documents should and have been transmitted to each and every member, which outlines her professional experience and educational background. A dedicated public servant, Ms. Mofnes has served over 42 years of extensive experience. Her commitment to the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands is shown through her multifaceted responsibilities, a former Registrar of Corporation and presently the Secretary of Commerce, aimed at improving the welfare as well as our relation with the private businesses sector. Governor Appointee and Lieutenant Governor Mendiola have complete trust and confidence in Ms. Mofnes' ability to serve on the board. Her achievements throughout the years, credentials, and dedication to serving our great Commonwealth make her an exemplary candidate to this position. We are confident that she is well prepared to answer questions you may have and share her vision. Thank you again, Mr. Chairman, Jesus Mosi Zangiliso, for the opportunity to introduce her to this august body, and we look forward for your favorable consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Regis. And before I recognize the appointee, Secretary, can you please rise so our staff can administer the oath? Can you rise and raise your right hand so that our staff can administer the oath?
Remedios C. Mofnes, you do solemnly swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you shall give in the matter at hand shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tagabel. Secretary, I know that you have complied with the requirements by this body to submit, but if there's anything else that you wish to add into your submission, you have the floor, but please state your name for the record before you proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Vice Chair, and esteemed members of this committee, for the record, my name is Remedios C. Mofnes, Secretary of Commerce, and I am honored to be nominated by the Honorable Governor David M. Appointee and Lieutenant Governor Dennis C. Mendiola to the Commonwealth Economic Incentive Authority Board of Directors. If confirmed, the Commonwealth Economic Incentive Authority, if confirmed, I will publish clear criteria and timelines of decisions that are transparent and predictable, tie incentives to verified results, jobs, capital investment, and training with clear compliance and remedies. Prioritize community benefit, good cinema jobs, local supplier growth, and environmental and cultural respect. Drive one table coordination with partner agencies and the Office of the Foreign Corporation Liaison Office, which was just recently passed by Public Law 24-6 to run a single investor front door to cut red tapes. I will disclose and recuse where necessary to maintain public trust. I'm committed to serving with integrity and urgency. I will disclose and recuse where necessary to maintain public trust. I'm committed to serving with integrity and urgency. And I welcome the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary. And before I allow the general public and the gallery to participate, first I would like to recognize individuals or agencies that are invited to participate. I believe Ms. Armani, President of the Trade of Council, requested to have Josh Cook to be the one to make or deliver testimony. Okay, sir, you can come forward. And before you proceed, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Francisco Q. Cruz, and honorable members of the Executive Appointments and Government Investigations Committee. My name is Joshua Cook. I'm here as Vice President of the Trade Council of the Marianas. More importantly, I'm here as a father and a business owner who wants to raise his children in a thriving Commonwealth. My comments today will briefly touch on 4 points. 1, the resources needed for the CNMI economy. The difference between CEIA and CETA. The greatest risk to the success of the Economic Incentive Authority, and how the governors and lieutenant governors nominees will ensure success. As frequently discussed, tax revenue from tourism is not reliable. Additionally, we have seen through recent events that not all of our federal grants or federal funding are guaranteed. When looking at the budget proposal for the general fund for FY 2025, we see that the CNMI had about $158 million for local expenses. But what federal funds did the CNMI rely on? In the volume 2 of that proposal, we can see the details about the federal fund. It shows roughly $947 million, or close to $1 billion, are available from grants and federal support. We, meaning the CNMI government and citizens, are being supported by over $1 billion of funds each year. While the Commonwealth would benefit from tens of millions in additional tax revenues, in order to become financially self-sufficient, it needs to generate hundreds of millions more in a scalable, diverse, and sustainable way. The good news is the CNMI has the power to provide some of the most valuable business incentives on earth. The CEIA will find a scalable way to market and establish qualified businesses to create a self-sufficient economy here in the CNMI. About the difference between CETA and CEIA. The Economic Incentive Authority was established for the singular purpose of not only aggressively marketing the economic incentive districts, but to remove roadblocks and help businesses streamline permitting, zoning, and incorporation. In other words, helping a business start generating revenue as soon as possible. CEIA can incentivize a business to operate within these districts with a license that provides tax incentives for up to 20 years. This license has a lot of similarities to CETA's qualifying certificate, but as you know, CETA can issue a QC anywhere in the Commonwealth for up to 25 years. These two organizations will not compete with one another. In fact, they will complement each other. In situations where the CEIA's marketing brings a business that needs to operate outside of an economic incentive district, they will be disqualified from receiving a license from CEIA. In that case, the authority can direct those businesses to CETA. Now, closing some comments here and directing some thoughts towards our nominee here today. The greatest constraints or risks to the CEIA will not be a lack of funds. It will be a lack of vision and a lack of resourcefulness. Today's nominee and this morning's nominees have demonstrated vision, resourcefulness, and integrity. Remigio Mafnas will ensure success. I've had the privilege of working closely with all of the leaders at the Department of Commerce, and in many cases reporting directly to Remy, if you'll allow me to address her less formally. Early in our acquaintance, she demonstrated her ability to navigate complex and stressful circumstances, and I could share many stories that show her professionalism and her capability. However, there is one thing that you will not find in the documents in front of you that I would like to share in closing. During a particularly busy multi-million-dollar project affecting all of commerce, my family and I was working on this project, and so was Ms. Mafnas. My family fell sick with COVID. Now, at the time, I had only been acquainted with Remy for a few months and we had only spoken a handful of times. Despite the stress of her workload and all of her other responsibilities, she actively went out of her way to help me because she heard my family was sick. Here's what I want to point out. One of the greatest marks of a strong character and leadership is someone who does not lose sight of the individual or the one among their responsibilities to the many. Secretary Mafnas is not only full of integrity, she is extremely capable and has demonstrated vision and resourcefulness during her time at Commerce. Her care for local businesses and her institutional knowledge of how businesses operate in the CNMI will go a long way in helping businesses relocate and start generating revenue here. Thank you all for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. At this time, I would like to open the floor for public comment, but before I allow someone or anyone wishes to come forward and deliver testimony, whether you support or not in support, again, I would like to remind everyone that any comments that is raised that is not directly related with this public hearing, we will not entertain those comments. So at this time, public comment is now open. Anyone in the gallery wishes to come forward and deliver testimony? This is a public hearing that we invite individuals or any member of the public, whether you're supporting the appointee of the governor or you're not, you're welcome to come forward and deliver your testimony. Anyone? And before you deliver your testimony, sir, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
I'm not stepping forward. Hobbling. My name is Paul Zak, Z-A-K. I've been a resident here in Saipan for about 34 years. Of 33 years, I've known the Remy, and one of the points that in listening to setting up this new commission, okay, is that stability. When you're making changes, you got to start from some type of base, okay? Remy knows her part of the equation, okay? Because one of the things that you're gonna have is people who are gonna make investments or looking at the CNMI are gonna have to be submitted documents. I mean, there are various formats that you can do it. Well, this is what Remy does already. You don't have to teach somebody about this. So the input of how the Commerce Department can work and how it can help, investors, I think is important, all right? I think Remy does have a feel of serviceability in responding to needs. Like I said, I've known her for 30 years when she was a registrar, the first corporation that I set up here. So I've known her for a long time with lots of little things that happen as an investor, and they will happen, all right? So I'm saying that I'm supportive of Remy because she is somebody who is consistent, okay? Somebody who is knowledgeable about the system, somebody who is service-orientated, for people who are asking questions, and she obviously knows how all of these pieces fit together from the aspect of setting up an operation here, right? And that's going to be an important part. So there are my off-the-cuff comments, and I appreciate it. Thank you, Senators.
Thank you po. Still open for public comment. Anyone from Commerce? Department of Commerce? Just to inform the public in the gallery, once we close public comment, we'll not go back to public comment. So this is the opportunity to accept public comment at this time. Anyone else? No one else? At this time, I close public comment. So, and before I recognize the members to raise questions or concern in regards to the appointment on this afternoon's public hearing, first I would like to ask Ms. Tagaba, please disclose those letters, if there's letters provided to this committee, either in support or not in support.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Ms. Mofnes, and members of the general public, in addition to the oral testimonies received today on the executive appointment of Ms. Remedios C. Mofnes to serve as a member of the Commonwealth Economic Incentive Authority, please be advised of 2 additional written testimonies officially received in support of the appointee from David R. Martita, ABTC Division Director of the Department of Commerce, Charlene M. Tenorio, Administrative Services Manager, Department of Commerce. At this time, no written testimony in opposition to the nominee's appointment has been received by the committee. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Jolene. At this time, I'd like to recognize the floor leader of the Senate, Senator Manglonia.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, Secretary. I just want to start off with asking about the Select USA, correct? That's the trip you were part of the delegation of. Was that your first time that you participated in that? I guess what was part of the mission as the delegation to Select USA, with the understanding that CETA was also involved, and then in addition to that, what were some limitations that you feel CIA could possibly fill in that gap?
What is the CIA? How can it fill that gap? They can fill the gap if, like, they register with the district, and if they don't want, if they're just, if it's not such a big infrastructure, then they can register with the CIA and the district, so they can just use one of those open space. But the taxes is and get the 20 years of tax benefit. But I guess I don't understand the question.
So as part of the delegation that went out to Select USA, to include CETA, and your role within that delegation in marketing the CNMI as a destination in which these companies can come and invest in, because that's already being done, and the presentation of the opportunities that could be realized if companies invest here. What's an opportunity for CEIA to fill in any gaps that weren't met by your delegation that went to Select USA? And so what I'm trying to get at here is, similar to my concern in the earlier hearing, is the duplicative efforts between CEIA and CETA, and what do you feel would be the advantage of CEIA to fill in those gaps?
I asked the same question. I know the CETA is, we got the package and we have everything, the tariffs, the made in the CNMI. But as for the CEIA, they have to register with the district, and we work on their tax incentives. But I think maybe I'm not understanding it.
So
It's-
part of your presentation at Select USA, did that include already tax incentives in addition to
Yes.
any QC
Yes.
benefits?
Yes, so yes, the tax incentives is included in there, in the package. So it's like, actually the Select USA with CETA, it worked perfect because of the tariffs, and all our, most of those people didn't know where the Marianas is, or if there is one Marianas. And when they came by, they asked, so where are you at? How come I don't know anything about you? Tell me about you. And then we show in the investment package, we
Yeah.
tell them all about it, but I guess I have to get together with them and have them work on promoting the incentive district
Alright,
to help the CETA.
okay.
So I guess I have to work with the rest of the board members in promoting.
Okay. So really, what is your understanding between CETA's role versus CEIA's role?
CETA's role is everything in that package. And CEIA is, if they register in that district, we have to give them their tax incentives for 20 years. Whereas CETA, they take the 5% off the gross revenue, but if you register in the incentive district, they take it off after you take off all your expenses. That's what I understood.
You keep referring to 20 years. Sorry, you're saying that if they are registered through CEIA, they qualify for a 20-year tax
Yes.
incentive? How did you come to that understanding?
That's what I was, that's what it says. That's what I was told, that it's, because I asked the same question.
Uh-huh.
Why 20 and what's the difference with CETA, the QC for 25 years? And they say CETA is taking 5% over the top, but CEIA would take either 3 to 9% after all the deductions, all the expenses. And so I asked, and they said the board members are the ones who's gonna come up with the percentage, with the tax percentage.
And that's, I think, something that maybe you, if confirmed as a board member, should sit down and make that clarification. Because right now in the statute alone, I may have missed it, but I don't see anything that would authorize a 20-year incentive. And so as the board gets organized, I think that's something that you as board members should really outline and detail within any standard operating procedures or a benefit package that could be included as part of the delegation that would participate in events such as Select USA being one of them.
Thank you. That is, yes, when we get, because if we just get appointed and once we all get settled, then we
Right.
can meet and discuss and work on that SOP like you said.
Thank you. And I just wanted to bring that up because you're mentioning these things that you've heard, but we haven't seen that anywhere, or this is the first time that we're hearing about it also in terms of the time frame of that incentive. Another thing that I want to bring up is, with what we have on the screens right now, it indicates the process in which would constitute a quorum as well as how decisions are made. I think one proposal that I've asked our counsel and legal assistant to prepare for the Senate body to consider is that right now the language states that five board members present shall constitute a quorum, absent any language of what those five would compose of. And so one of the recommendation and proposal that I would bring to the Senate body is to include language to where of the 5 required board members for quorum, there should be at least one member from the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd senatorial district that will be required to constitute that quorum. Similarly to any decisions made by the board as a whole, there must be at least a representative from 1st, 2nd, or 3rd senatorial district that would be part of that decision making. Is that something that you would support?
Yes.
Okay. And then lastly, I think with your current position as the Secretary of Commerce, are you part of any other, maybe, I don't know, board or association or organization outside of your duties as a secretary?
The Lottery Commission?
And do you meet regularly with the Lottery Commission?
No, maybe sometimes we meet every month, but
Have you met since the executive order on the transferring of the Casino Commission into the Lottery Commission? Have you met since the executive order was executed?
yes,
Okay.
we met twice, but we met twice, I think maybe back in July or,
But you haven't met about what's happening right now with IPI?
no,
Okay.
no. Because when the executive order came, it says that we're only for operation, but there's no operation.
Right. But I think now that we are hearing about this Team King and them stepping in, do you think that that would impede your ability to represent both the Lottery Commission and
No.
the CEIA in addition to your duties as a secretary?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Secretary. That's all I have for now for the first round, Chair. How are you?
Thank you.
Thank you, Floor Leader. Recognize Senator Castro.
I just wanted to thank Secretary Mofnas for being here today. I also would like to thank the individuals who made public comment, both written and the comment provided by Mr. Cook. I could see how this new, not necessarily new, it's established 25 years ago but never implemented. Could be very useful given our current economic situation, and you know, sometimes in agencies, even though we are designed to be synergized, sometimes we're not. So I see this commission really focusing on marketing and closing the gaps. The question I'm going to just ask the same question that I asked to the two individuals earlier. But this is not going to be, you're going to have to put on your Secretary of Commerce hat now. Because if you could just provide the committee with updates on digitizing the application process for getting a business started, given that the public law is probably already 5 years old. Where are we on that?
Thank you, Senator. Actually, we already signed the contract. The contract is completely signed. We are already in phase 2 for the online portal for the Registrar of Corporations. And I was, how do you say that? They confirmed that we'll be going live by next year. So starting next year, people can start filing online. I'm supposed to, after this hearing, I'm going to be checking with the Secretary of Finance to see how we can go about the online payment. But we're all set. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary. And then within that new digital platform, given that some of our regulations are different, you know what, I'm gonna cancel that question because actually this is more for a different authority, even though they both relate. Yeah, Chair, I yield. I don't want this to turn into a commerce oversight, but I just want to thank you for your time, and thank you, Mr. Zach, for providing the same comment, because sometimes it's very important to have someone that's involved in the groundwork to be on the front line as well, so that they could provide the necessary frontline information needed, whether it's getting this online platform or speaking to an investor. But like I did share earlier, I see that this commission can basically help remove all the barriers to entry. And I hope that if confirm that you use that same knowledge of all the red tape that some of it is through our own doing in the legislature over the years, that we kind of deregulate some of those regulations that need to be deregulated, and at the same time, let's not make this another government process, but more of a way to make it more plug and play for people interested in coming into the CNMI. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Castro. Recognize Senator Snyder. I hope it's not going to be very long. I appreciate your patience and understanding, sir. Recognize.
Thank you, Chairman Cruz. This is a partnering agency or organization with that of CEDA and the very agency that the nominee is now running, Commerce. So bear with me if I have several questions. But I won't take long. just kind of browsing through the original enabling statute, which is the 12-20, as what Senator Castro was alluding to earlier. Then he kind of mentioned a little bit about some legislative legislations that essentially became law over the course of time. The past 25 years, some court cases, the last 10, 15 years, may or may not made some substantive changes in the current statute, 1220, and so I'm looking at especially the free trade, the former name. I'm seeking the assistance of the council to find me that Supreme Court decision so far as the authority of a free trade zone for the municipalities of Rota and Tinian, to which, in summary, I recalled when the former mayor of Tinian was trying to exercise his authority as the chief executive for the island and wanted to execute the very intent of the free trade zone. There was a concern that was raised by Department of Public Lands, to which it went through the motion of Supreme Court review. So I'm going to stop right there, but I do know that DPO is right now is the Secretary of DPO has a lot of authority in terms of designating of free trade. So I recommend that you take a look at that ruling and see how we can work with that. And if there's a need for the governor to include the Secretary of Department of Public Lands in the mix, whether as an advisory council or if the law allows for additional, then perhaps that may necessitate that. But earlier today, Secretary, we had a very good conversation with the other two nominees. Very, very well experienced in both extremes, taxes, and Mr. Berger is a resident of the region, so to speak, and he provided a lot of insights as to the history of the CNMI. Quite easy to pinpoint two successful industry that we embrace, namely, other than tourism, namely the textile industry, the garment, which brought in a lot of business, brought in a lot of attention from 10,000 miles away. Brought an increase. It was a very healthy GDP at the time. It provided a lot of gross revenue tax for the government.
Yes.
And then, of course, the lifting of the WTO and lifted the quota on the PRC. So kind of that helped with the demise of our industry here. And then a few years later, the gaming industry, it provided a lot of spark in terms of financial infusion for the CNMI. It's hard to imagine it's only been less than 10 years, maybe 10, that it was here, and then it's gone for several reasons. But I have to repeat that without that, the demise of the now settlement fund, the 3,000 people that 3,000 pensioners, retirees, they stand to lose their income if that didn't happen. So the leaders at the time felt that was a good opportunity for the CNMI to engage, and that gave rise for the approval of that. And then, of course, this natural disasters you really cannot do anything about, right? We just have to, it's hard to prepare for that. So a lot of systemic change, both internally and externally, but we cannot stop from trying to figure out a way to navigate ourselves out. Fast forward to today, we're still trying to figure that out. Just yesterday or the day before, the legislature and then the Senate passed a very important piece of legislation to our people, Many are not in support because it's potentially providing additional debt to the CNMI, and it's not it's really stretching it. But coming from this side, we are put in a situation where we had to make a decision, and we're not going to sit here and say that we're going to turn the other way and forget about the people that we serve. It is our duty to find the way out of this with your assistance with this new entity. So since this being a new entity and you're assuming another, and I'm going to piggyback on Floor Leader Manglonia's question earlier. Is this something that do you think you're going to, I know your commitment is there, but do you think it's not going to impede your responsibility as Secretary of Commerce, Lottery Commission, and this to?
No.
You're good?
Yes.
Okay. And by the way, budget is before us, and thank you for your email, for reaching out to my office, and of course Vice President's office for assistance. That's the kind of partnership and communication we appreciate, even if it's like something small like that, but it can be, very significant in the end.
Thank you.
So I hope that by doing so and with this new element under your watch, we can come up with the best decision together to help us or help each other drive ourselves out of this situation. So I'm going to repeat what I said earlier this morning. I saw a statistics of collections of general funds every year. The legislature is required to pass an operating budget every year, whether but the actual collection is an average of $160 million every year. It's constant. There are days where it goes up, but years, but it may sound a lot, but it's really not. It's not enough to pass around. If you factor if you look at it, at the figures, you take away 25% of that from PSS, then you take away about 30 million or maybe 40 million to make the settlement 100% fold. Then there's other payments like bond obligations. It adds up. So you end up with what, 60, 70, 80 million dollars every year. And how are you going to service that with the other 3 branches and then the public programs and all that? It's quite difficult. So now we can understand why there is always quote unquote an overrun. It's not a nice thing to say, but it does happen. So our job together, our responsibility together is to try and find a way to increase that projection, that collection. And that's why, the administration and now the legislature is coming up with all these agendas, policies and remedies to try and hopefully get out of the situation quicker. I do want to, maybe as a comment, work with the tax experts, with Revenue and Tax or Secretary of Finance, and maybe your staff and the professionals, the experts. Look at all these tax codes or whatever laws that are antiquated, they're expired, like unenforceable. It doesn't apply anymore, so to speak. Look at them and work with the members of the House, especially if it's a tax, because it has to originate there, and even us. Work with them to see how we can update some of these and identify which are the ones that on a short-term approach and a longer-term approach. And I think part of that is, in a nutshell, it's the responsibility of the entity. I don't have any specific question for you, other than to ensure that don't be don't have any reservation coming to the legislature at any time, because if you see that there's a need for us to address, bring it to our attention, like what you did, like what, with the budget. Because in order for us to know what would be a good proposal, we need to hear from, especially the private sector, and you represent the private sector in the public sector, so to speak. So look at the law, the 1220, and recommend to the Senate what can we do to improve the law, or
Yes.
so and I think I will make one last comment between Commerce, CEIA, I'm trying to get used to this acronym, and CEDA. Y'all need to work together, figure out a way how to, partner up, and we encourage that maybe once you guys get a quorum and start working, invite the members of the legislature to some of your meetings. It doesn't have to be up here. We can go down to your place of meetings and listen to some of your discussions. Even if it's every month or every other month,
Thank you.
it's important.
Will
Okay.
do, thank you.
Thank you, Secretary. Chairman Cruz, following your lead, Chairman, I yield back. Thank you.
Si Zeus Mossy, Senator Snyder. I recognize, and don't worry, Senator Kabu. I will recognize you in the next schedule public hearing. I will recognize you first. I always, recognize you last. So that's a promise for me. Recognize Senator Kabu.
Thank you, Chairman Cruz. And welcome. Let me just get our distinguished guest here. Remedio, if I may call, Secretary of Commerce. We'd like to, yes, you have a very prestigious background too. And, I'm a former educator, so I'm looking at the holistic approach now, Chairman. We have the two other testimonies that dealt with the expertise of the accounting portion of it. We have the one with the taxation, and then we have Remedio, who's dealing with the Commonwealth business, commerce and everything that deals with, that portion of it. So I see the well-roundedness of this board, the intention in place, and although it's, you have the CETA and other transparent organizations and board members, we're all here for one common goal, is to improve our economic development. Also the business aspect as far as how we can be more welcoming. I know I saw interviews with big businesses, LLCs and all that. How can we be friendly in regards to, time? Like I think Chairman said, time is money, the process and refinement to ensure that these companies are just not coming here and then, there's delays on permits, delays on this. I'm not saying the organization's delayed, or how can we fast track that system? I'm happy to know the technology portion is coming along the way, because that's one big component of it all. I'd like to thank the testimony. We have some written testimony of David Maritita in your division, the food and alcohol, beverage, tobacco. Thank you for his write-up. Also the Charlene Tenorio, their write-up. These are the testimonies. Paul Zach, 33 plus years. Where's Paul out there? And he's, this is a journey. This is building a relationship over time. So you can tell that these people are in it to win it. And that's what it takes. We don't want to flip the coin and get somebody that's, Adam to Eve, just new at the game, or knows. So it's just, no serious questions, just looking at Zach, Joshua, that time of COVID, I'm just reflecting that sentimental piece of it all that creates that,
no partner left behind, whether it's big, small, or whatever. We're just going to need all the expertise on the testimonies that we have been presented today, including yours, to ensure that we get all these, the discussion going and moving forward and paralleling the action plans with the other organizations to assist the governor and lieutenant governor. And the economic data, I know Commerce has data driven. I'm in education. Data drives a lot, and looking at our budget and the taxation and the receivables and all that, that paints a picture. And I'm pretty sure that portrait paints a picture where we at and what do we need to do to navigate. So thank you so much for your acceptance of the nomination as we look forward to deliberate, and hopefully everything goes well where we get the people in place that is needed to move our Commonwealth forward.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Cabo, and Secretary. Thank you for your patience and responding to the committee's concern. Actually, I know that Commerce also have division, and my main concern is I don't know that Senator Snyder raised that question and you reply, but no, it's not gonna, because I wasn't gonna ask you whether your role as a secretary would that impede your ability or impair your ability to oversee the Commerce department. And I think you mentioned that it's not gonna impede any of your responsibility there with the function of the Commerce. Okay, so and I know that it's going to be related because Commerce, you deal with businesses, and as I mentioned in the morning public hearing in regards to collaboration with other agencies, because I know this is going to be a new role that you're going to be discussing with the other members in regards to marketing and promoting the cinema, the Sindaore district in reviving our ailing economy, how we can be able to diversify. Because I mentioned in the morning that if we look at the Commonwealth, I see that not so much to offer, but rather do something that, because even though we don't have any so much to offer, but we have to do something to be more attractive. Although we're a small island, but it can be done. It's a matter of commitment and collaboration, working together with other experts. This is a combination of public and private sectors that has been appointed. So it's for me, it's a good combination. Getting everybody involved and see what we can do, be able to revive our ailing economy, because right now our main industry is tourism, right? But even if we talk about tourism, and we don't do our best for the tourists to attract tourists to come to our cinema, probably they won't come back on the second round. But the reason why I said it, because even with MVA, even though we keep supporting MVA to promote tourism, and we're not beautifying, excuse me, we're not beautifying our Commonwealth, meaning all those areas that it looks eyesores, no? We need to beautify them so that it can be more attractive. Not only blue waters, but improve the environment. That I think that's one of the biggest challenges that we have is we keep talking about bringing in tourists, communicating with airlines to bring tourists, but yet we're not beautifying the island. We need to beautify our island, not only for tourists but for our own people, because I want to share with you my experience also going off island, seeing beautiful places. You know, it makes me feel like I know that I'm not gonna come back because you have to have money to come back to those kind of areas. But I'm taking pictures to show families, friends that it's beautiful, and it's giving me the idea of how to also to attract visitors to come to our destination, to the Commonwealth by working together with everyone. And I know it's going to be a challenge because for this board of director, because you're talking about marketing, promotion, looking into those permitting agencies, how can we process those permits in a very timely manner, because I mentioned in this morning is investors that come in to invest. If we give them hard time, for them time is money. They rather we discourage them to continue their desire to do business in the Commonwealth because of a slow process. And also I know that taxes are also discussed, and I hope that not to the point that we will not generate or collect revenue for the Commonwealth, because we also looking at public services and essential programs that we need to render to our community. So those are the things that it has to be considered. I know I was reading that BGRT is waiving BGRT and waiving portion of the excess taxes. I'm not the expert. That's why it was appointed nine of you guys, and if you guys are given the blessing and work together to see how we can diversify our economy, and I see some business community here that are here to testify, and I know that they're very optimistic in having this kind of authority, and I know that also SIDA also does Commonwealth economic development, and they have also this program which is called the tax incentive, and I know that you guys are this board of directors also going to be discussing about tax incentive. So I work with them so that it can be it's not going to be like some misunderstanding between our Commonwealth Economic Development Authority and this Commonwealth Incentive Authority. So again, all I hope that it's gonna with this authority and the other agency is going to be I know it's not going to be an overnight thing, but at least something that we can push forward and see how we can improve our economy. So thank you for taking another huge responsibility, and I'm crossing my finger that it's not going to impede or impair your ability to oversee the Commerce Department. And thank you again. Recognize Senator Cabo.
One more acknowledgement, because I'm a small business owner, and I know we got this from President PK, but strong support to all we're always talking about corporate, but the backbone of businesses are small businesses. So thank you, PK, for the supporting document as well, and for all the small businesses like myself and many others. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Cabo. Recognize Senator Castro.
Secretary, just one, maybe not so small, but footnote to looking at the original law that created this authority, right? I'm just going to read what then Governor Pedro P. Tenorio stated before signing the law. Just the last paragraph. However, as indicated in my message vetoing the predecessor legislation, I am seriously troubled by the several provisions of this bill. First, I remain concerned about the allocation of 60 hectares of scarce public lands to the mayors of Tinian, Rhoda, or any municipality or commercial for any municipal or commercial purpose. This grant of authority is entirely unrelated and unnecessary to the establishment of free trade zones. Moreover, it may raise a constitutional question, which is what Senator Jude alluded to earlier. So there's already a court decision on that. The Commonwealth Constitution, after the dissolution of the Marianas Public Land Corporation (MPLC), vests the responsibility for the management and disposition of public lands in the executive branch. A grant of authority over public lands to the mayors of Rhoda and Tinian appears inconsistent with that mandate. Nevertheless, I signed this bill into law because the lands designated as free trade zones by the legislation, namely the Commonwealth Ports Authority, land located at the Saipan Airport, and such other lands may be designated in the future by respective legislative delegations, are unaffected by legal questions in which may be raised with respect to Rhoda and Tinian mayors' lands. So just take a look at this original legislation so we can mitigate any constitutional issues. But I do agree with the intent, and I do see the value in this organization. It's something different and something very necessary given our economic challenges. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to, according to Mr. Chairman Cruz, we are Public Law 24-6, that's the Foreign Corporation Liaison, and that we're working on the regulations right now. And the main focus on this this law is to kind of walk through investors' permits. So this office will be processing all the permits that are coming in so that investors don't have to do it themselves. And we already discussed it with the acting director of this this division, that we would meet with the agencies, the permitting agencies, and ask them that, let them know that if our team comes by to please assist them to make everything smoothly. And we'll also see Representative TJ Mangonia. He's got a bill to introduce to transfer the business license back up to the Department of Commerce. So that one would also help. As soon as they get their certificate from the registrar, they just walk next door and submit their business license. And if this is something that we need done the same day, it could be done the same day, since we're right there. So anyway, I think, and I would like to tell the this committee that I am excited. I am excited to work with the other board members to see what we can do to make this work, to bring investors. Because yes, we all know that we are bleeding and we need the help, but I'm actually really excited.
Thank you, and because I'm hearing from businesses, for example, new businesses that are trying to open, especially even with our community, like building a septic tank it's very costly, and I think that one should be looked into, because before, let's try to, make them establish a business before we start collecting. But even with residential, by the time that person wants, try to complete the project. He ran out of funding too, because it's very, very costly. So we need to look into those areas that is not very, if it's by federal law, then we cannot do anything about it. But if it's just promulgation of regulation by permitting agency, then we need to look into those. Those are the areas. Those are just one of the many that needs to be looked into. Because we want to be a business friendly approach with everyone, no? So that the new business can be successful, so that in the long run we'll be collecting, rather than giving them hard time in the beginning, and then maybe some of them will bear with it. Maybe a lot will just move on and do elsewhere.
Yes.
So those are the things that it needs to be looked into, and as long as we don't violate any federal law.
Actually,
But I believe,
yes.
I believe in mitigation. It can be mitigated, and to the point that we're trying to build our economic growth, rather than not doing anything and just stay within whatever that regulation. Because like I said, if it's a law, then we have to respect, especially federal. But if it's a local law, that's why you guys are there to give us whatever the obstacle is, what barrier that's making this not attractive. Let us know so we can amend. We can amend whatever that law that is not attractive to the business community or new investors. Then we can, the legislature can do something about it, to the point, but not to violate any federal. Because if it's within our jurisdiction, we can amend anytime if it's going to, to do good for our economy. And like I said, permitting agency, they need to be business friendly. And I'm glad you mentioned that you guys helping business to walk through some of that, but I'm still hearing permitting agency that are giving or sitting on. For example, it takes them 60 days to review. If they already reviewed, you don't have to complete the whole 60 days, right?
Yeah.
Right? You don't exhaust the 60 days if they submit all the requirements, and it's giving you, your policy they have 60 days. And if everything is there, then why wait for the last day? Just help them move forward with their desire to do business. Because like I said, we don't have a lot to offer here in the Commonwealth, and we don't, like in Chamorro, ti patafandilikaw ni siya sa ita tanisita, no? Zaman dilikawin no ningayan no fan steady izonya mine ni siya investors po fanyaga sa no. But like I said, not to violate any law. In our Sinamay law, no, we can amend, but federal law we have to. Maybe you guys going to be reaching out for our delegate to, when it comes to federal law, to see how she can be able to assist for the sake of economic growth here in the Commonwealth. So again, thank you for guiding them and making sure that they do business. Senator Snyder, did you raise your hand? I'm sorry I take your time, but you have the time if you want. Anyone else? You have anything else to say before we proceed with our agenda, no? Madam Secretary?
Just that I share everything you just said. I share, and just that's it. I share, and actually, yes, it's very hard to build, like you said, the septic tank, because I think because of all the federal projects, but I don't know for sure. But I'd like to have a team work and look into it, because if it's only for a lot of houses being built from the disaster and all the federal projects. So if they raise all the construction materials because of the federal projects, then maybe if it's like I'm just trying to build a house for myself and not having any contractor, can the price just be? I know they raised the price because of all the federal projects. There's so many building houses, buildings, so they raised the price too. But if we can help to see how we can, you know, like you said, to build a septic tank is about 10,000, 15,000. You used to can build a house with 15,000 or just a studio. But no. Anyway, that's it. And I'd like to thank all of you.
So thank you, Lynn, and I know this is for in regards to economic growth, no, but let's not forget about our people, no. As much as we wanna bring investors, but also make sure that it's not affected or put burden on in the community, whatever you guys come up with to diversify our economy.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir? Okay. This time, if no one else wishes to raise concern on the last minute, I will proceed with our agenda. Thank you. At this time, all public comments are well taken. Let the record reflect that all written testimonies will be included in the Senate Standing Committee recommendation report, along with oral testimonies will be forwarded before the full Senate members in consideration for confirmation or rejection. At this time, before we adjourn, I would like to extend on behalf of the members of the Standing Committee our sincere appreciation and gratitude to Governor Appointee and Lieutenant Governor Mendola's representative, Mr. John Regis, the appointee, Ms. Remedios C. Mofnas, and most especially the members of the general public for your participation and involvement during this important public hearing process. And we certainly hope that we continue this dialogue of communication between us, the elected officials, and the public to keep you abreast and informed of our current and future Senate hearings ahead that relates to the public's best interests. This concludes this public hearing for today. Do I hear a motion for adjournment? There's a motion for adjournment and was seconded. All in favor of that motion say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. This public hearing is officially adjourned. Thank you.